Hello, we're live. Hello, everybody. I'm here on Tuesday Night Chat, and we are going to talk about the screen keeps moving here. Some simple things that we can do to prepare our dogs for the holidays. So I hope that we get to see you. Happy to listen to comments or read comments. And so welcome, and I'm really happy. If you're watching this or if you're watching this on replay, let me know. I am very grateful for your time. That being said, who am I? So welcome. I'm Sylvia Kozrzak, and this is my dog training and behavior community. And I would love for you to post any questions that you might have. I am trying to look at helping people. Obviously, this isn't always the best forum to go into detail for a lot of things, but I can help you with some simple ideas. And my goal with these lives is that I give you some easy and simple solutions, because they really should. Hi, Heinrich. I'm really happy that you are joining us. Hopefully you are well. You were a little quiet on your page, I saw, the last few days, so I hope you're well. And so I was going to talk about some easy and simple things that are going to be great solutions to help you do during the holidays. There are things that you can start now. We want to look at preparing our dogs for upcoming events, and it's great to practice that before. We can't always just go on stage and perform in front of a live audience, and we do need those rehearsals. So that's what I want you to think about as you're teaching your dog new things. I am doing a free masterclass on Sunday afternoon. If you didn't see the link in the group here, it is free. Register. I know it's starting to become busy. Some of you might be busy Sunday afternoons. If you register, you will get the recording, as it is going to be recorded, and everybody who has registered will receive an email with the recording. So you don't need to miss it. And then if you have questions, you can always post them here in the group, or you can post them on my business page, Walkabout Canine Consulting, which is my business Facebook page. And so I'm just going to get started. I'd love to hear what some of you do during the holidays. Some of us have busy holidays. Some of us have very quiet Christmas holidays. If you, I realize not everybody actually celebrates Christmas. They may celebrate a different type of holiday that falls within the same time, or they may just celebrate for other reasons because it is a festive holiday season. And our house is quiet now in regards to, we got a holiday, so we have a very lazy holiday season. My husband and I, it's just my husband and I and our dogs. So where we live is not where we both come from. So we're transplants, and we actually, our circle has really shrunk throughout the years. Just people passing away, some people living far away, but that's okay. We actually really enjoy our time. It's a quiet time. We take the dogs for really nice walks. We usually still have no snow on the ground, and it makes it very enjoyable for us to be able to get out with the dogs. We enjoy some good food. We enjoy some good libations, and we watch some feel good movies and get a little lazy. Uh, so that's not always a good thing, getting lazy, so but something that you want to get into the habit of starting now. You've heard me talk about enrichment before, and I can't bring this home enough. How important enrichment is. I did share my good friend and mentor's post, I believe, with her showing some enrichment with I'm trying to remember the name of the birds. I actually met them in June. Anyways, they were wild caught birds, unfortunately, but she's really doing some fabulous training with them. But one of her first approaches, and I follow the same thing, is providing enrichment and foraging. We all love enrichment and foraging. We don't necessarily have to forage as much because, well, we kind of do. We go to the grocery store and we forage there, but it is essentially a very important concept. Animals in nature wake up every day, and that's what they spend a lot of their time is using their energy to find food, sniffing, checking things out, exploring their environment, and we can give that to our dogs. If you're not providing enrichment activities on a daily basis, I challenge you to start. It's one of the first steps that I take when I'm working with clients. And it doesn't matter whether it's a puppy or a teenager, or if I'm actually working with somebody that has a dog that needs some behavior modification. And including enrichment in the program has a great effect. For some more, the effect is bigger than others, but there is an effect. I see it with my own dogs as well. And if I've dropped off, there was, I was in the hospital recently, so my husband does try. I got some things ready for him to give to the dogs, but it was not nearly the same as what I typically give my dogs. And as soon as I was able to start that, I started our enrichment routine again. Yes, they get to go out. Yes, they get to go for walks. Yes, they get to have their sniffy walks, which is part of their enrichment. But I do use a lot of things like topples that are made by Westpaw. I use their daily calories, and I mix it with something soft and put them in the freezer. I have frozen bones. I have bully sticks that I stick into a holder so that they're not swallowing the last little piece whole. I may give them a tricky treat ball. I may use a Kong wobbler. I may take some of their kibble and scatter it out the side of my patio so that they are using their nose for some scatter feeding. I might do some scent work. I have to admit, I've been a little bit lax with doing my scent work, but I may do a little bit of scent work. Even doing 3 minutes has a really exhausting effect. And sometimes I make it really easy for the dogs, and sometimes I make it hard. I have puzzles, which is a little bit more complex. I have licky mats, whatever I can put together. Sometimes I might make something elaborate in regards to an empty food container and fill that with different, you can fill it with paper, you can put treats in there. You can use your imagination of making a bit of a puzzle out of some homemade stuff. And I did an enrichment challenge. I'm trying to remember if it was April. It was somewhere between April and June. It's awful. But it should be in the group. So I did do a 4-day enrichment challenge. And I simply just used some things that I had in my home. I don't spend, Henrik, that's a really good question. And owners will think, oh my God, I'm so busy. I don't even have time for that. Guess what? It doesn't really take a lot of time. If you just do some easy things, your dog is going to love, love, love it. So I do not spend hours. You can. If I had more, I mean, it's second nature for me. And there are days where I am really busy, but I do make a point. Filling a Kong or a Topple in the morning while you're getting your breakfast ready is so easy. We sometimes things like, oh my God, it's a daunting, another daunting thing that I need to do. But if you actually stop and just do it, it's like, okay, well, that took 2 minutes. That's easy. And so just do it. And if you have Kongs or Topples, even if you have 3 Topples for your dog and that's all you do, and you get them ready the morning of or the night before, then that's easy. If you have bully sticks, I don't recommend giving them to your dog when you're not there. So hopefully these are things that you're giving your dog when you're there. You can fill the Topples or Kongs the night before, and you can simply give your dog one for breakfast in the morning while you're having your coffee. If you work full time, I do get a lot of comments, well, I don't have time in getting the kids ready. And like I say, it's pretty easy to put together. Just stick it in the freezer. And, clients that I work with that have embraced this, they've just can't thank me enough because they see the effect that it does actually have on their dogs. We're giving them something mentally to do. It's satisfying, and they're licking and chewing, which is another important feature of those activities, because we do know that those activities like licking and chewing have a calming effect on our dogs. And I think there is neuroscience behind the licking and actually stimulating the same, and I don't know the part of the brain, but that it has a calming effect, just like as if we were doing meditation. So I think that's pretty powerful. And even something like nose work, you don't have to be complicated. If you don't have time or you're just not interested in teaching your dog nose work, which is simply, our dogs know how to sniff, and doing nose work or scent work, we're simply teaching them to find unique scents specifically, and we're sending them on the hunt to do that. But we can do that with their cookies. We can do that with their kibble. We can hide it around the house. It doesn't take long to do. And it's really fun. Initially, some dogs that have never been exposed to finding their treats, you don't want to make it too complicated. You want to make it really easy so that they win. That's the idea, is that they win, and they get addicted to the game, and then you can start making it more complicated. So if you hide treats, you can initially not hide it so that it's out of sight, so that they are using their nose and their sight, and then start making it where the treats are hidden behind things and they actually have to use their nose more, and changing the spots and changing the locations. And we can use our outdoor yards if we have that. You can even, if you don't have a yard and you take your dogs for a walk, if there's 2 of you, you can do this with 1 too before you bring your dogs out. You can go hide some stuff behind trees and behind logs, and then just walk along there and let them naturally find those things. They get a really big, big boost when they find these things they think they found it on their own, and they really do love that activity. So that's something that you can even do on your walk. You can look for treats together, or you can just have them, wow, I won this. One of my Liam, um, who he absolutely loves the empty containers. So empty yogurt container, empty applesauce container, and that might be how I started it. I think I had a little applesauce for lunch, and I just made a little puzzle out of what I had with pieces of treats and paper towel and some cheese, and he just loves it. So now anytime we give him a container that's pretty much empty, but there's stuff left over, cream cheese, whatever, he just thinks it is the biggest prize ever. And so now all our empty containers go to Liam, and of course we do not leave Emma out. She interacts with those items a little bit differently, so I just fill a topple for her so that she has that. Enrichment that stimulates the dog's hearing. So I don't know if dogs really so I guess different sounds can be enriching, but you do have to be careful because it's usually a little bit alarming to them. They use their hearing to figure out what's going on around them. Them using their nose is probably bigger enrichment than the sounds. Yeah, so I did, and nose is the biggest. And think about this, Henrik. Dogs are born, they can't see and they can't hear when they're born, but they can smell. It is a very big part of who they are. They have a really cool, sophisticated olfactory system, so it's pretty powerful. And when you're engaging them, it's thought that anywhere between 40 to 60% of their brain is being engaged while they're doing scent work. So that's massive use of some brain muscle power, right? So brains are expensive. And I will expose my dogs to different sounds. I don't make a habit of it, and I'm very careful because sounds can become negative pretty fast. So that's not something that, if I'm doing sounds, it is I guess it's enriching. So you do have to be careful about how loud those sounds are. And you can actually use that when you're giving the enrichment activities. You can put different sounds on at such a low decibel so that your dog can hear it. And the most important part of exposing them to something new is that they're continuing on with their enrichment activity, and they're not stopping and going, oh my God, what's that? And so that would be enriching as well. It is, we kind of put it under the column of socializing, but it is enrichment because they're getting exposed to something new. And that's always enriching for even us, right? It's just that with sounds, you do need to do it very, very carefully. A lot more careful than smells. Not to say that some smells might be a negative, and for sure music can be enriching, and there is some research to show dogs' preferences for music. The first research that came out was through a dog's ear, and that was with piano, the slow beat of the piano. And since then, classical music, reggae is one. That's not my favorite, but and I guess there's a few others and I just can't recall them now. So there is some research behind some of the different music that dogs like. I like smooth jazz, so there's not a lot of horns. It's more, it's just a lot smoother and relaxing. So I do play that a lot. My dogs enjoy it. I don't know if they enjoy it because I'm calm and quiet. Because I mean, we do know that dogs do enjoy classical music. So yeah, music can for sure be enriching and calming. So yeah, those are great questions, and yeah, I mean, I never discredit music. The only caveat to that is you never want to expose like if the music is new, you don't want to expose your dogs to the music and something else is happening that might be a trigger for them. So that's what I would look at. And so getting back to preparing our dogs is sometimes our dogs are just, I mean, they're really friendly and they love people. So if you're going to have some busy times and you think, oh my God, what am I going to do with my dog? A lot of our first thought is, well, I'm going to put them away, but you want to prepare them for that. You don't want to just put them away if they're not used to going in another room by themselves. So we want to prepare them for that. And that can be done very easily, very slowly, and you can do it every day. It depends on your dog and how sensitive they are. So I have two different personalities in my home. So one, it can very easily go into another room and start interacting with something. The other dog took me a little bit of extra steps, and I didn't close the door right away. So I might have just used my baby gate and given them something to do. Actually, the first few times what I did is, because I use my bedroom as the calm, the serenity room, because that is where we do sleep. So it is a familiar place. It's a place the dogs are comfortable. And the first few times I just gave them some enrichment in the bedroom. I don't do it now, but I shouldn't say that. I don't know why I said that. But so I would go in there with them and hang out, or my husband did. We practiced a couple of times where he would go in there and I'd be in the basement with somebody. And then we just kept expanding on that. Then I practiced with giving them multiple presents. So I may have started off with a lick mat, and then when the lick mat was done, it's like, oh, here, look at, now you've got one of your topples. And then after the topple was done, I go, oh, okay, now here is, a bully stick. And I may have just put the baby gate up and stayed fairly close. Nothing exciting was happening, so that they were more concerned with all those enriching activities that they love and that have a very calming effect. And now I can use that. I can use that sometimes if I know company is coming and I want my dogs to be in a calmer state. So I have used that just to get them calmed down before company comes. Or I have also used that when I know somebody is coming, workmen, something like that. I have used it for my dogs when I know I'm going to have company over. And if those people are not dog friendly, yeah, I know, why would I have anybody like that in my house? But sometimes there are people that are actually afraid of dogs. So we do have a friend, the whole family loves dogs, but she is truly afraid of dogs because of an experience that she had when she was younger with dogs. So, not so easy to overcome. So, being able to put up a baby gate down my hallway and my dogs being comfortable with that is really, really helpful. And like I say, I have used the baby gate just down the hallway, so they still have a couple of rooms to go to. as opposed to closing them off into a room. You can do both ways. I've done scatter feeding where I just throw a bunch of kibble down the hallway and my dogs think that's cool. So it's really nice to practice those, practice that before you're ever going to have company, because when we do need to sort of keep them out of our space, it's not anything new. They've been conditioned. They know good stuff happened. Yes, they're going to be curious. Yes, they're going to want to see the other people. But, there are times when, maybe our dog is just, we know our dog's not able to do that. The other part of it, which I'm going to talk about in the master class, is using boundaries. It may not be early enough to do, maybe she needs a dog as enrichment. Yeah, well, her kids did want a dog, but, and so she does understand the importance of not being afraid of dogs, and made sure her children were not afraid of dogs. So when her son was younger, she specifically asked me to bring over one of my dogs because she did not want her children to have the same fear that she did. So kudos for her. And yeah, so teaching our dogs a boundary. If they're crate trained, that's great. You can deliver the enrichment toys in their crate. I don't use crates anymore. That's why I use a bedroom, or, our house is set up where I do have a bit of a hallway and I could put up a baby gate. My dogs are trained to go on boundaries or stations or dog beds, and I can ask them to go on there, depending on, who's there and how much activity. It, sometimes we still need to be in a little bit of training and management mode when we do have the company, if we know we're not going to have time for that, which a lot of times we don't, but it depends. Sometimes we do have time if you're just having one couple over. It's just easier to get your dogs climatized to another room and being okay with just being behind a baby gate, so that they're learning to settle. Being behind the baby gate is, there's an added benefit for that, because now instead of, being in the bedroom and having the closed door, and, you can use a baby gate as well, depending if your dog respects a baby gate. But, just having it down a hallway a little bit, the dog still has the feeling of being close, and because dogs are pretty curious and they can see what's going on. Yeah, so this group isn't for people behavior. This is for people with dogs and their training and behavior. That's pretty funny, Heinrich. Yeah, so those are really easy things to start now. We have time. It's not even December 1st. And you can quite easily do this, several times a week already, or even one times a day. If your dog likes certain enrichment toys, then you always deliver it to a certain spot, and that spot takes on a good feeling and cool. This is where I go. When I pick up enrichment toys and I start walking in a certain direction, my dogs beeline it to their dog beds, because that's where they get delivered. If I start walking to the hallway, they will run into the hallway, because that's often, I will deliver some of their enrichment down the hallway. I might roll the tricky treat ball down the hallway for either one. I always change which direction, or the Kong wobbler, or, like I say, sometimes I do, and I have practice putting the baby gate up and just throwing, scatter feeding some of the kibble. Those are really easy things to do and will be extremely helpful. But the caveat is we need to show our dogs that this is okay, this is cool, good things are going to be delivered. We don't want to just do it when company comes, because that's too hard, and we're working in the moment and not working for getting things ready, rehearsing. Just like I'm not going to get up on stage and just start acting start acting without having rehearsed, without the audience there. And they need that rehearsal as well. So that was what I wanted to talk to you about in regards to getting ready for the holidays with your dog. If you have any other questions about this, I'm more than happy to answer that. And if you're watching this on replay, #replay, and I'm really grateful for your time. I hope everybody is doing okay on this Tuesday evening. And so if you want to register for the masterclass, I'd love to have you. There's quite a few registered already. And if you find that, what am I doing it? Sunday, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. And you can register and I'll send you the link to the recording. So thank you for your time, for those of you that are watching, and I hope you have a great night, and we will see you next Tuesday.